this is Alessandra. Welcome to my home, welcome to my kitchen. We are still in quarantine and sometimes it's difficult to know what day of the week it is. But today we surely know that it's Sunday because I'm making Sunday sauce. Let's get started with all the ingredients. We're going to start with an extra virgin olive oil, about 1/3 cup, 1 medium onion. I have 3 cloves of garlic, some parsley, pinoli nuts, raisins, salt, the basil for the sauce, but that's only at the end. You're going to be using fresh cracked pepper, Parmigiano Reggiano, and locatelli romano cheese. You could also do just a locatelli or Parmigiano, that's up to you. Let's get to the meats now. I have 4 beautiful veal neck bones. I don't use any pork in my sauce, so I like the veal neck bones for the extra flavor. I have here some beautiful top round slices, which are nice and thin, so no need to pound them, and it also makes it a lot quicker. Then I have 2.5 pounds chopped meat, which I will be making meatballs for the sauce, but I'm going to do the tutorial on meatballs on a separate video. And like always, a good wine. Today we're using the Zinfandel that I have open already since we had wine last night, and I'll be using that. Okay, one last thing will be the tomatoes, of course. And I'm using a large 6 pounds, 10 ounces of plum tomato and 1 small can of the tomato paste. Don't forget, I also use crochet cotton to roll up my braciole. You could buy twine, but I find it's economical. I keep it in a plastic bag and I have it forever. Okay, let's move to the stove and let's get started. Let's get started making the braciole. Very simple. Okay, gonna sprinkle some sea salt on them, a little bit everywhere. Then I have 3 cloves of garlic, just going to put a little bit. I have roughly 6 bracioles. You don't want to put too much, but not too little either. Like always, if you watch my other videos, I grab my parsley, bunch it up in my fingers, and this is how I chop my parsley, nice and easy. One less thing to use. Okay, the next thing that goes in the braciole is pine nuts, pinolis. Not everybody in the family likes the pine nuts, so what I will do is, and I absolutely do because that's how I grew up with it, and raisins. So that's another thing that a lot of people like. So what I will do, once I roll these up, I will use a toothpick to identify the ones with the pinoli nuts and the raisins. Now to the cheese. Okay, I'm going to grate the pecorino romano on it. A nice dusting everywhere. A little parmigiano. Pecorino romano is a saltier, it's a sheep milk cheese. The Parmigiano Reggiano is a milder cheese, and together makes just a wonderful combination. Now one more thing. Whenever I use black pepper, I like to use the pepper milk because it's just such a different flavor. So here we go. Now I'm going to show you how I roll my braciole. So you just start from the top. There you go. Now my crochet thread. What I do is just long way. Again, this is not a professional. This is what I'm comfortable with. Okay, leave about, I'm going to say 2 feet long on the side. Just roll, 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 and then I circle it here, and that's it, done. The braciole is tied. Now, remember, this is the one with the pinoli nuts. So I'm going to go ahead and put a toothpick in so we could identify them later. My bracioles are ready. Let's move over to the stove and let's get started. I have an 8-quart, 8 liters pot with a nice large bottom, stainless steel, because you want enough space to be able to saute your meat. My flame is on high, and I'm going to put the olive oil. Come closer so you could take a look how much oil I'm putting. You definitely want the bottom of the pot nicely coated, okay? So this is what it looks like. I'm gonna say about 1/3 of a cup. Cannot be more than that. It's a very good extra virgin olive oil. I always suggest buy the best ingredients that you can, because what you put, that's what you get. So quello che ci metti è quello che ci trovi. Exactly what it means is what you put in it, that's what the final result will be. Now, as the oil warms up, I'm going to start adding and sauteing the meat, and I will only add the onions halfway through that the meat is sauteed, okay? The oil is nice and hot. I could smell it. Let's start putting our bracioles in. Oh, hear that sizzle. That means the meat is getting all seared, and so it will stay nice and juicy inside. See, you want to make sure you have enough room to be able to brown everything nicely. Okay. Don't move it till it becomes browned, and let it do its job on its own. A minute or so has passed. Let me just start turning the bracioles. See how beautifully and brown they're getting. That seals in all the flavor. There you go. They've sauteed all on one side. They look beautiful and brown. What I'm going to do now, the flame is still on high, I'm going to add my onions. And try to get the onions in those little empty spots, because you want them to start browning too. Just let it, maybe lower the heat on medium now. You don't want to burn anything, but you want to continue that beautiful caramelization process. Everything has been browning and caramelizing beautifully. Please do not rush the process. Lower your flame if you need to, but this is the most important part. This is where all the flavors come together. So make sure you take your time. I still remember as a little girl, my grandmother getting up at 6 a.m. to start this, and by the time we got back from church, the sauce was cooking away. And God forbid we dunked a piece of bread in that sauce. It was not fun anymore. So let this process take place slowly. This is exactly where you want it to be. Look at these colors, okay? Now let me add the wine. I'm using the red wine, a Zinfandel today. Make sure you cover everything. And you hear it sizzling. And now you want to make sure that scrape the bottom, because that's all deliciousness that goes into your tomato sauce. Actually, now that I say sauce, let's talk about that. There's been always a question between Italian Americans. Is it called sauce? Is it called gravy? In my family, we call it sauce. Actually, not only do we call it sauce, we call it Sunday sauce, because it's mostly strictly made on a Sunday. It's the only time of the week where when I'm still having my first cup of coffee, I start making this meal. As the wine is evaporating, this is a perfect time for me to get my tomatoes ready. Now, this is a plum peeled tomato in its juice. You could either use an immersion blender, just put it in and get the tomatoes all chopped up. But I am not a fan of doing that because I like my tomato sauce to be with no seeds, thick, but a thin thickness in flavor, but a thinner consistency where it's not with the lumps and chunks in it, okay? Especially if you might be using it to make a lasagna or manicotti. So this is what I do with my tomatoes. I put a bowl with my strainer. If you don't have a strainer, it's a wonderful gadget to get. Bed Bath & Beyond sells them. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon online. I love my strainer. Bought it once and I've had it for years. So this is what we're going to do. Put the tomatoes in and just stir, not stir, turn, and look how the tomatoes come out. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, you could also use a passata di pomodoro, which comes in the cans, in the jars or the cans. Not a big fan of that either. I really like it like this. Again, there's a million ways to make a ragu, tomato sauce, a gravy, but this is my way. And I guarantee you, in my town of Viquequense, 99.9% of the people there will make this tomato sauce the same way. My Sunday sauce the same way. My one has evaporated. The color is changing. It's already a darker color because of the red wine. Now, here's a little trick. What you want to do, have your flame on high. This is an important step because the first tomato that goes in, you want it to saute it. In Italian we say stretto, tight. So you want it to get the frying, the oil, the onion, the wine. You want the flavors to come out of the tomato paste. So here I'm going to start with the tomato paste, just a little bit at a time, like that. A little bit in, and I'm going to stir. So there you go. You see it? Look at that. See that? How beautiful. See that? You want that flavor to just get combined. You don't want to just dump your tomatoes in. No, gently. Stirring and just take a look. This is what you want it to look like. Okay. Now we're going to get ready to put in our tomatoes that we have strained. Again, leave your heat on high, your flame on high, because you want it to keep pick up oil as it cooks. Look at the coloring inside. So I start with the perimeter or the pan. What's the highest heat? Take a look at that. Don't put it all in. Give it another little stir. Oh, you could already start smelling it and almost tasting it. The wonderful thing about a Sunday sauce, I never put the exhaust on, and I'll tell you why. Because I want my husband and my daughters, the first thing they do when they get up on a Sunday morning, they could smile and say, it's Sunday. We could smell the sauce. Now, I'm going to continue adding my sauce. Actually, I'm going to put it all in. Okay. Don't forget to put a little cold water in your can, swish it, and put it in your sauce. One thing I learned growing up in Italy is that you don't waste anything, and that's definitely a good thing to learn anywhere in the world. I am now going to add my salt. Like I always say, better less than more, because you could always add but not take away. And a little secret ingredient, but not so secret. Just the tip of a small, I'm gonna say a quarter teaspoon of sugar, simply because it removes the acidity of the tomatoes and really brings out the flavors in the tomato. The sauce has come to a boil. Now, important rule, do not cover the sauce. You put your wooden spoon across and put the lid on where it leaves space for steam to evaporate. And the reason for that is that if you cover it, it will come like a soup, stewed. You need the flavors you need the water to evaporate, thicken up, and that you never cover sauce. Let's put it this way. So I'm going to, again, here it is. It's boiling. One stir. So you put your wooden spoon across, your lid on top, not covering, and lower your flame to low. The sauce has been cooking beautifully. I just remember every 30 minutes, just give it a stir. You don't want it to be sticking to the bottom. Not that it should, because it's on low flame, but just come and stir it. My sauce has been cooking about 2.5 hours. Let's take a look, and we're gonna add the meatballs in now that I've just fried. Again, remember, for the tutorial of the meatballs, it's separate. I just want it because people sometimes just want to make meatballs without putting them in the sauce. And here we go. Oh, lost one. Gonna have a happy dog. Okay, just gonna remove them. The meatballs are in. The sauce looks fantastic. Now I'm just going to stir it, put the lid back on, and continue cooking. It tastes perfect. I'm not gonna add anything else. I'm just gonna let it cook 30 more minutes. Okay, we're ready to eat. I want you to see what all I have today for us. Today's a special day. My daughter, who's a nurse, is finally home, and we waited for her to have this fabulous dinner. And here is the pasta ready with the Sunday sauce and the Braciole in it. There is nothing more that says love louder than Sunday sauce. I've said it. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, I also made the bread that's also in my earlier tutorials on Alessandra's Food is Love. And the salad also. Yeah, what else can I say? I'm gonna taste it quickly, and then everybody's staring at me because everybody wants to eat and is hungry, so I'm gonna do it really quick. Al dente, delicious. The sauce is amazing. Please do try these recipes and leave a comment at the bottom. Good night, be safe, stay healthy.